Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone. Lady Rose here with you from Goddess Garage for our Mystic Monday. Sarah is with us too. I'm going to spin this around so she can say hello.
Hi, everybody.
I hope I got you in frame.
You did.
Okay. Good. So she's my eyes and ears on the page or on the channel, I guess, because we're now on YouTube instead of doing it on Facebook. So hopefully some of you can join us and have remembered. Yes, last week was our first week on YouTube. So hopefully you'll be able to remember to come see me on YouTube this week as well. So we are talking about birth charts, astrological houses, and what is involved in all of that. Because I know I've offered some doing some astrological things. We've done some full moon and new moon reports and things like that. So I just wanted to get some people who maybe aren't as familiar with the birth charts and what is involved and what it sort of means. I mean, I'm not going to give a whole big course on it. I'm only talking for maybe half an hour on that, and then we're going to do some readings, of course, too. And it takes years of study. So you're not going to get it in this first half hour, but at least you'll understand it a little bit more. So I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes just to kind of get on here. So I welcome those of you that are watching, and thank you so much for being here. We've posted on Facebook as well, so hopefully people will see it there, because I know a lot of people want to tune in, but they have not always remembered to come to YouTube to do that. Now, I know we have actually a fairly big list of people that are going to get the 3-card readings that have donated. So I know a couple of them messaged me and they weren't going to be able to make it for the live show, but they're going to be rewatching it. And you can do that too. If you want to be part of the 3-card reading, as opposed to just a card pull if we have time, when you make a donation, first of all, we make sure you get on the list and that you will get a reading. And you get more than a 1-card reading, you now get a 3-card reading. And even if we go past 8 o'clock, I'll always do everyone that made a donation that's on the list for that. I won't always be able to make time for the 1-card pulls. So that's part of the thing that you get. And if you donate, you don't always have to be here for the live then, because you know that you're going to get a reading, and you can rewatch it on the rewatch on my channel if you want that. So I know there's a couple ladies out there that are going to be rewatching, but they've already made the donation for their 3-card reading. So here we go. Let's see, we're at 7:03. Like I said, we're still fairly new, so I'll show the decks we're using. So we are using the Fairy Tarot cards. I've got one of the rarer copies of the Doreen Virtue and Radleigh Valentine. If you go to Hay House to get a deck like this, you'll only see Radleigh Valentine's name on it anymore. But this deck I've had for ages, so I like playing with the Fairy Tarot deck every once in a while. And then I'm also doing the daily crystal inspiration. So those of you that donated and are doing the 3-card reading, you're going to get 2 of the tarot cards and 1 of the crystal inspiration cards. Those of you that want a 1-card pull will only get the daily crystal. And again, that's if time allows. So if you want a card, a 1-card pull, please comment in the comments that you would like one. And how are we letting them know they're on the list?
I will mention them.
Oh, okay. So Sarah will mention you when she's seen the comment of you want a card, and that way you know you're on the list, time allowing, of course. Anything else I needed to talk about? I don't think so. Okay. So I have a visual aid here today. So this is sort of what a natal chart looks like. This I got out of one of my books. And a lot of people know, for instance, what their sun sign is. Like if someone asks you, what's your sign? I say Aries, because that's my sun sign. And when you say you're Aries or Gemini or Capricorn or whatever it might be, that's your sun sign you're mentioning. So everybody has a signature in the star, so to speak. And I do that as well. And what this signature is what your true sun sign is, because some of us are cusps. So if you're a cusp person, that means you're either born within the 5 days of the zodiac sign or 5 days before it transitions into the next zodiac sign. I'll probably do another talk maybe next week about cusps in particular, but sometimes, like signatures, you have a first name, a middle name, and a last name. If you're a cusp baby, then you have a first name, two middle names, and a last name. So I'm an Aries, Taurus, Aries, Virgo. That's my star signature. And the star signature is your moon, your sun, or your sun and your moon in that order, and then your rising or ascendant sign. That's your full name as far as the zodiac goes. So this is your birth chart. So this is a picture, essentially, of what the stars and the sky looked like the second you were born. That's why I always asked for the birth time. What time were you born? Because these are always changing around. So when we're born, it's like we take a little snapshot of where the planets are going to be. So I often compare this circle to high school classes that we have to take, right? So you get some alternatives. You can choose some classes. There's some classes you have to take, like you have to take English and you have to take math or something like that, right? So those are sometimes what I sort of jokingly call your karma courses. So you have to take math and you put it in this one, and you have to take English and you put it in that one. So this is what your birth chart looks like. Now, your birth chart reveals a lot of things because we all have every planet in our birth chart. So it's right from Mercury to Venus to Mars to the moon, the sun, and all those things. And we've placed them in different houses, as it's called, in your chart. And depending on where you've placed them, and yes, you do place them before you come in here, you know where you've put all these planets, because what these are supposed to do are they're supposed to help gauge you in life and help you out in life, help remind you of what your life purpose is, what some of your goals are, what some of your sacred contracts are. And the chart can help tell you all of these things, because a lot of times when we come in here, we forget all those things that we've planned on doing. So for instance, there's a dragon in everyone's chart. And I've been doing quite a few dragon readings lately. So we all have a dragon, and our dragon talks to many different things. One of the most important things it talks about is what our life purpose is, what our goals are, on a very high level of what we've decided to do. It also talks about what our strengths are, because a lot of times we have natural gifts that we feel, doesn't everybody know how to do this? And no. So the tail of your dragon often talks to your strengths. Your dragon also tells you a lot about your past lives. And this also tells you why you do the things the way you do them. It answers a lot of questions, gives you a lot of aha moments. And when you know what your purpose is, now you know where to go, what to do, that sort of thing. Now, the birth chart, what it's saying is what your tendencies are. It's not written in stone. You can change these things, but it'll be where you tend to do things, how well you tend to do things. Are you a social person? Are you not a social person? Is this a reaping life time for you, or is it a sowing lifetime? So if you're in a sowing lifetime, and I mean sowing like scattering seeds, it's a time of work. It's a time of planting seeds for following lives coming up. If you're in a reaping lifetime, it means things might be extra hard because you're reaping the rewards of maybe some stuff you've having to make up for, or it can be extra easy because you're reaping the rewards for all the good things you did. So it's always good to know it. It also talks about what element you're using the most of. Like, are you using more air than fire? Are you more of an earth person or a water person? That sort of thing. And I'm going to go into the houses because there's 12 different houses in every single chart. And the first house usually starts right here. Now, the first house, naturally speaking, is Aries, because that's the first zodiac sign ruled by Mars. But that's not what the first house is for everybody on your birth chart. Everybody's first house can be different. So, for instance, the first house of the zodiac is all about yourself, you. It's the house of beginnings. It's the house of the ego in the healthy sense. It's the house of self-esteem. It can also talk about your physical body. Like, for instance, in my first house, I have Jupiter in my first house. I actually have a power cluster, what's called a power cluster in my first house. So I'm very strong in my self-image. I'm supposed to be a very good communicator, so hopefully I am. Um, and I also have my Jupiter in there. So people that have Jupiter in their first house tend to be bigger people. So that's the reason I'm fluffy, is because I blame it on Jupiter. He's in there and he's all about abundance and he's all about expansion and all those things. And then we go to your second house, and the second house is your house of wealth, your house of money, income. It talks about what you would be good at, as far as your career goes. The dragon map that I do as well also very much goes into that, but the birth chart can give some revelations to that as well. But it also talks about your material goods, your values, what your work ethic's going to be like. Then we go into the third house. The third house is the house of your siblings, the house of communication, because they put siblings and communication together because you tend to talk more to your brothers and sisters than you do your parents, I guess is the thinking there. But it's ruled by Mercury. So it's all about your mind, the way you think, how you think. It talks about your early education. So it's really good to get a birth chart done for a very young person. Like I've done these for people that have given them as shower gifts or after a new baby is born, because I often will say it's kind of like getting an owner's manual for your kid, and you'll be able to tell right away from what's in their third house how well they'll do in school, or what their tendency of how well they'll do in school. So if you know they're not going to do very well, or their tendency will be that they're going to struggle, then you know to get extra help. And so you're kind of ahead of the game a little bit. Now, then the fourth house is the house of home, your parents, your family overall, like your aunts and uncles and that sort of stuff. And it's ruled by Cancer, which is all about self-love, self-care, emotions, that sort of thing. It's also got the moon in there, which is very much about emotions. Now, it doesn't mean you place your moon there. This is just the natural ruler. Again, that's a whole other lesson. But I'm just running down what some of the houses mean. So when we do a birth chart, we're looking at you, your image, how you appear, what your health is going to be like, what your values are like, what your work ethic is like, what kind of luck will you have as far as wealth goes. Your third house is about early school, grade school, high school, and what that's going to be like for you. It can also reveal how many brothers and sisters you'll have. This house is the house of home and family. So what your family life is like, and sort of what influence it can have on the rest of your life, because our parents, of course, influence us for a very long time. It also reveals what our emotional maturity is like, how we approach things emotionally, that sort of thing. Then in our fifth house, it's called our house of creativity and our house of children. So it doesn't always, but it can reveal how many children you're going to have. It also helps to reveal how creative you are and how you approach things and how artistic you are and what kind of creativity you're in. Now, so the reason children are in there is because they're the ultimate creation, the creation that woman does of bringing life into this world. So that's what it's all about. It speaks to romance as well. How many romances, what kind of romantic things you have. It also talks about fertility and the kind of drama that's going to be in your life, and play, what you like to play and that sort of thing. So again, great if you've got a kid and you want an owner's manual, what kind of play do they like to do? Then in our sixth house, which is up here, I believe, this is the house of health. It's ruled by Virgo, which makes sense because Virgos are usually very worried about their health. They're always focused on their health. So this is the house of health. So this talks about how we're going to be healthy, what our health is going to be like, what our fitness is going to be like, what our organization skills are, whether we're good or bad at them, and also our sense of usefulness can play into there, and our pets. It talks about our pets a little bit in there as well. And then we're into the 7th house. So the 7th house is up here, and that's our house of partnership, our house of marriage, or our spouse. It talks about obviously our marriage. It can reveal how many marriages, how, if it's going to be, a marriage that's easy, a marriage that's going to need work. I mean, all marriages need some sort of work, but some are easier than others. But this doesn't just talk about partnership in love. It also talks about partnership overall in life, like business partnerships, sharing, equality, balance. It's ruled naturally by Leo, which is the scales. So it's all about bringing that balance and doing that teamwork. And then the 8th house is our house of death, or our house also called of reincarnation. So I have another power cluster here, and that is because I'm trying to reinvent myself in this lifetime. So I'm doing things totally different than I've done in past lives. So it's kind of interesting. And it's really interesting to see with someone's chart, to see what they've done with their chart. And you get a lot of like, oh, that explains so much kind of moments. So this house of death also speaks to sex, not romance, but sex, and what kinds of sex you like, what your sex drive is like. It talks about intimacy, if you're good at it or not so good at it, that sort of thing. It also talks about taxes, because it is the house of death. Nothing's more certain than death and taxes, right? It also talks about some of our investments, our property, in particular inheritances. So it can talk about whether you're going to get inheritances, will they be big or small, that sort of thing. Now, then we go into the 9th house. So the 9th house is the house of journeys, the house of travel. It's naturally ruled by Jupiter, and as the sign is naturally Sagittarians. And Sagittarians tend to like to travel. They're also full of adventure for the most part. So that fits that they're the ruler of that house. And Sarah's shaking her head because she's a Sagittarius. It's also the house of philosophy. And I often joke when I'm doing someone's birth chart and I say, I've never met a Saggy I didn't like. And if you put enough beers into them, they'll get very philosophical on you. She's shaking her head, yes, again. This 9th house also speaks to your higher education. So more like your university, college kind of education, what degrees you may or may not get, or whether you're going to go through the school of hard knocks and graduate from that. It also talks about religion and law and your ethics and your wisdom, and how fast you get to that point in your life of wisdom. Now, the 10th house is your kingdom house. And this is ruled by Saturn and Capricorn. So it's sort of tongue in cheek called your where your kingdom is, because Capricorns, if you've ever met them, they always come in as if they're royalty. They're either a king or a queen, but a Capricorn's always royalty. And they expect everyone to treat them that way. But this is also the house of your social status, your reputation. Capricorns are very aware of that about themselves. Career, Capricorns are born workaholics, so the career is very important to them. So it talks about your career, your long-term goals, what things you're going to be doing long-term in life, things that are going to be with you. It also speaks to fame. Now, it doesn't mean every time you look at the 10th house, it's like, yes, you're going to be famous or not famous. But more, if you're going to be famous, there'll be something there that will lead to that, to give a clue that you're going to be famous. Now, your 11th house is your house of friendship. So the ancient ruler of that house, so these two last houses have ancient rulers. So does Scorpio, actually, because the old ancient ruler of Scorpio was Mars. This was before they discovered the planets of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, right? So the new ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, because Pluto is the planet of death. And then same thing with Capricorn. It's Aquarius, the 11th house. Its old ruler was Saturn, but now it's Uranus. That's the planet of rebellion. And you know that if you've met an Aquarian, they always do things in their very own unique individual way. They march to the beat of their own drummer for sure. But this is the house of friendship, because Aquarians usually have a lot of friends, or at least a lot of people that want to be friends with them. So this is also your house of groups, social awareness, humanitarianism, because Aquarians usually are very driven to be humanitarians. This is also our house of hopes, wishes, and dreams. So this is where some of your deepest hopes and wishes and desires will be, if you want to know what they are. And then in the 12th house is the house of endings. Just as this was the house of beginnings, this is the house of endings. So it's ruled by Pisces, which is the most mystical sign of all the zodiac signs. Its old ruler was Jupiter. Its new one is Neptune, because Pisces is a fish. So it makes sense that the god of the oceans and seas would be the ruler of this house. This is the house of endings and of karma. This is your karma house. It also is known as the house of your undoing. And this is because it holds all your deep healing that you need to do from past lives. It holds all your secrets. It holds your prison and your traps in this life. And it holds your limiting beliefs, the beliefs that are going to stop you from being able to complete what you need to complete in this lifetime. So the 12th house is also the most mystical house, and it's very mysterious and dark and that sort of thing. So these are the things that you can learn in your houses as to where you've placed your planets. Now, just because you haven't placed a planet in a house doesn't mean it doesn't play a role. It has a different kind of role, but we'll get into that at another time. So that's just a little rundown. I hope it wasn't too complicated about what the birth chart is and all the areas. So that's why you want to look at your birth chart, because we're looking at things right from who you are to what kind of values, work ethic, what kind of career, how you're going to be in bed, where you're going to travel, what kind of education are you going to get, what kind of education are you going to be good at, and also your hopes, your wishes, your secrets. All that is covered in the birth chart, and you've placed planets in each of those houses to help you and influence you in this life so you can achieve something. So by looking at your whole chart, I can often tell you, well, this is what you're doing in this life. And the dragon gives you very direct direction as to what you're supposed to be doing, what your sacred contracts and things like that are. They're two different readings, but you can get either one. I would suggest the birth chart if the person's very young, because like I said, it's like getting an owner's manual, and the dragon one's always good, no matter what, anytime. So let's do some card readings. And we have a lot of people on the donation list. So thank you so much for those of you that donated. Top of the list, I know, is Sarah Wynn. So she seems to always be top of the list, eh? So Sarah Wynn, here is your reading. Okay, let's see what we got. So we're doing 2 tarot cards and 1 crystal card for you. So for the crystal, these crystal names, you got Apophyllite, and it says stay positive. So I know you've been doing some very sort of courageous things, so that's awesome. You've been putting out very positive body image kind of artwork that you've been involved with. And now for your tarot, you've got the 9 of Autumn. So this is cool. I like this. 9s are sort of an ending of a cycle. Autumn is the harvest season. So you're harvesting something. So I think that something's coming to fruition for you. And it says, reward yourself for all your hard work. Being happily and successfully self-employed, and cherishing your time alone. So maybe you need some alone time, but there is something coming in for you that, your hard work is finally paying off. I think part of it might be that the world is starting to get back to normal, and we're starting to be able to come together actually, not just virtually. So that's going to start to pay off for you, because I know you're an artist, and sometimes seeing the art is what makes you want to buy the art, and not just on a screen, but in person. So I think all that's going to pay off for you very soon. And I have to say, I'm so glad I got the tea. And then, Sarah, you've got the Chariot. This is very good. This is a victory card. So it says success that comes from dedication and self-discipline, celebrating your accomplishments, being in the spotlight. So you're going to be in the spotlight for a little while. That's okay. It's going to further what you're doing, what work you're doing. But the Chariot, like I said, is one of those victory cards, and it's a victory card with a condition. The condition is you have to stay balanced. So watch and make sure that everything in your life is balanced, maybe even doing things in twos, that sort of thing, buying stuff in pairs and whatnot, because that will help maintain the balance in your life. And watch for that, because if you don't stay balanced, things can go sideways for you very easily. So perhaps this crystal is here just to help you stay on the positive side of things. So I hope that helped. I'm looking forward to the success you're going to be having, which is awesome. And then next on the list is Tara. Okay, Tara and Emma, they always come together. They're a mother and daughter team. So I'm doing Tara first tonight, and then I will do Emma. All right, let's shuffle up these crystal ones a little bit and see what we've got. Thank you all for being here. If you've got a favorite crystal, put your favorite crystal in the comments. I'd love to know what some of your favorite crystals are. And do you carry them around with you, or do you just keep them at home and wonder what to do with them? Let me know in the comments. Okay, Tara, your 2 tarot cards and your crystal card. So crystal, you got tourmalinated quartz. Whoa. So this is sort of a mix of quartz and tourmaline, I think, maybe. So it says get out of your own way. So you're in your own way this week. So everything that's not going right for you this week is because of you. So sometimes we're our own worst enemy. But you've got as your card today, 7 of spring. So it's about beginnings. Spring is new beginnings and whatnot. And it says, be assertive. Don't back down from what you believe. Courageously stand up for yourself. If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've had this card before, to be assertive. So there's something that it's coming up for a reason. When things repeat in tarot, if you're like, I get clients say, oh, I always get this card. Oh, I always get that card. And if you're always getting the same kind of card, like you're always getting the Tower card, or you're always getting, the 7 of clubs or whatever, or the 7 of wands, I mean, not clubs. Clubs is card games. But if you're always getting the same card, it means you're not listening to what the card is telling you. And right now, it's a minor arcana card. So it means you're just not listening, and you need to kind of do more of what it's telling you. When it switches from a minor arcana into a major arcana. So if a client comes in and says, oh, I always get the Tower card, I'm like, whoa, there's something you are seriously not listening to. And when it switches from minor arcana to major arcana, it means the universe is getting ready to slap you upside the head hard. So you're still in the minor arcana. That's good. It's saying be assertive. So again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you got this before. So it means that you need to listen to this and stand up for something that maybe you've been hesitant about standing up for, or saying out loud, or letting people know how you really feel, kind of thing, on something. Now, you did get the Dreamer as your second card, and I really like that. So this means as soon as you stand up for and be assertive and say whatever it is you need to say, you get a brand new beginning. This is a major arcana card, so it means that you've gotten out of your own way, you've said what you need to say, and now you're on a beautiful, beautiful journey. And it says, embrace your true purpose, begin a new adventure, and trust yourself. So the Fool, this is also the Fool card in traditional tarot. So the Fool card is a great card because it's basically every opportunity is open to you. But first you got to get out of your own way, and then you've got to be saying what you need to say, whatever it might be. You need to let the parties know what you're really thinking, because you've held back on sort of revealing what your thoughts are. Maybe it's for fear of rocking the boat. Maybe it's for fear of upsetting someone, but you need to say it or do it or express it. So be sure to do that this week. Okay, so I hope that helps. And now I know Tara's next. Or no, Emma. Just did Tara. It's Emma next. Emma is next. Okay, let's see what Emma gets. Shuffle up these tarot cards. Then I'll shuffle up the crystal cards. Is anyone saying what crystals they like?
They do. So Kayla likes right now smoked quartz and moss agate.
Ooh.
They have such grounding energies, she says.
Yes, very, very good choices. Yeah.
Laura says depends on her purse. If it's a small one, a pink quartz. If it's a bigger one, a small bag of several crystals.
Okay, nice.
Mine is the rhodonite.
Oh, nice. Yes, good choices. Yes, the pink quartz, like the rose quartz, I'm assuming she means. That's the crystal of unconditional love. I compare it to, it's a dog quartz, because dogs know how to give unconditional love.
This one's mine.
That rhodonite. So that's the one that Sarah picked, sort of a pink and gray.
Yeah.
I love it. That's a pretty one.
Yeah.
I like that one. Nice. Oh, very nice. Deeply healing. I don't know my crystals as well as I should. I don't know. I've only in the last couple of years gotten into them. I avoided crystals like the plague for a very long time. But now they're in my life and they're everywhere. I got plates of them everywhere. So, Emma, you got clear quartz. Speaking of quartz, you got the clear one, and it says get crystal clear. So the clear quartz is quite powerful because it is clear. It brings clarity into your life, and it says get crystal clear. So you need to get clear on something. Have you spoken to the person you are wanting to speak to? Because that might be what you need to bring with you, is this crystal, quartz crystal, so that you can get clear on what you want to say. Now, the first card you got, Emma, is the Wheel. So this is a good card. This is often the card of luck. It's a 10, so it usually brings a bonus gift with it. And it says delays are over. Sudden or unexpected good luck. And new car travel as well. So this is sort of like The Price is Right. You win a new car. But the Wheel is all about that good luck. The wheel is spinning. Things are changing. Energy's changing. And delays are over. So whatever you've been hesitating on, do that, because it needs to happen. And this is a lucky time for you to do these things. If you've been waiting on something, that means that whatever you've been waiting for is coming very soon for you. So that's good. That's good news if you're waiting for something to come into your life. And then you've got the 5 of spring. And 5s I like because they're transition numbers. Sometimes they're hard transition numbers, but often they pay off in the end. They're always a transition from a not so great place to a much better place, but it's going to be scary in between getting from A to B. But once you get to B, you're in a very happy, better place. So I know there's something scary that you need to do. I don't know if you've done it yet or not, but you need to do that, and you'll get to that place B, and you'll be in a much better, happier, spring-like kind of way. And it says opposing goals arrive from differing opinions, feeling at odds with yourself or others. And it says to avoid overly ambitious people. So avoid those people, but it's about doing difficult things and embracing that and being okay with being uncomfortable, so to speak. So I hope that helps, Emma. Let me know. Okay, and who's after Emma?
Lori.
Lori. Okay, Lori. Oh, yes. Lori. Okay. And I know Lori's booked a full moon report too, so I'm going to be working on that soon for her. Thank you, Lori, for that order, by the way. The full moon's coming up July 23rd. If you want to know what's going on for the full moon report, it's always an interesting report. It tells you what's going on in your life right now, what you should be grateful for, what you need to prepare for the waning moon to move things out of your way in order to reach your goals, and all that kind of good stuff. When I started doing my new moon reports and full moon reports for myself, which I did through most of COVID and just a little before, it changed my business in a big way, in a very successful way. So yeah, it can make a big difference in your life. Okay, so Lori, you've got hematite. Ground yourself. Hematite. Yeah, I said that right. And it's a round, well, in this picture, it's a round crystal. Brownish black. Almost looks like it's got rust on it. So it's a grounding crystal. So perhaps you need to throw that in with some of your rose quartz. And for your tarot, you've got the 10 of summer. So that's a beautiful card to get. Summertime, you can't beat that. And it's a 10, which always brings good things into your life. And it says, an emotionally fulfilling life with family or friends. Raising children wisely, which I know you've done. People you can trust. So it's saying that you've got people in your life that you can trust. Things are going to go very well for you as far as friends and family go. I think partly because we're opening up again and we're able to get in touch and reach out and have picnics and barbecues and things like that again. And then you've got the star card following up after that. Now, I know that you've had to recently bury your father, so that might be talking a little bit to this as well, because then you've got the star card. So perhaps you've missed him. And the star card often comes up, especially if it comes up after the grieving card, or this isn't the grieving card, the 10 of summer, but there is a grieving card in tarot. And when the star card shows up after that, it usually means that it's a sign that the person is in a much better, happier place, and they want you to know they're at peace. So the message of this card is look to the future with hope and optimism. The power of faith to move mountains. Happy changes that bring relief from challenging times. Now, this is true worldwide. We're starting to open up again. We're getting back to what is normal or more normal like. I know on Friday we can eat inside a restaurant again, which is very exciting. So it's happy changes that bring relief from challenging times. If COVID hasn't been one of the most challenging times, I don't know what has been, but this card is for you. So it's about that glimmer of hope, that star in the dark night. So for you, things are changing as well, particularly for you as well as for the world, but it's all moving in the right direction for you as far as good things coming into your life. Now, I know your life is pretty good as it is, but life can always be better, right? And life is going to get so much better for you. It's kind of like, it's been doing this a little bit for you. And it's like, when is it going to bubble up and kind of be? You're right there. You're right there. So keep going. Patience is something that, you have to just keep waiting for. Sarah and I know about patience very, very well. It's a lesson we've been repeatedly taught. So patience is another good virtue to develop as well. Okay. And who's after Lori? Who do I have after Lori?
Debbie Goulding.
Debbie Goulding. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Debbie, for being here. Actually, I think you are not able to be here. But maybe you are. I'm not sure. But you've got a reading here. So, and let's see what your crystal is. Okay. Ooh, you got a cool one. Debbie, you got azurite. Very cool. See?
Oh yeah,
That's a neat
it's
one.
really pretty.
Yeah, it's very pretty. So carry that in your purse because it says get laser focused. And I know you've been wanting to be focused on a particular project. So it's saying bring this azurite crystal into your life and it will help focus you. Bring it into your office, have it in your purse, have it all around you. Get a few of them. And then you've got the 3 of autumn, which is awesome. If 3 is that first movement number, it's after we've made the decisions and gotten the ideas and whatnot. Now we're actually taking steps forward. So I really like it when a 3 shows up. And it says, follow your passion when it comes to your career. We've done a lot of readings on this, so Debbie's going to know exactly what this card means. Be the best at what you do. Being compensated for your creative talents. You know you are in the right place at the right time, and you are doing the right thing and following your dream. Keep going because you are exactly where you need to be. And I'm just so happy this card showed up. And then you got a major arcana. You got the Emperor after that. So funny because 3, like I said, is that first number of movement. So it means you're moving forward. You're taking those steps. This is awesome. 4 is your next number. And I always say you can't level up in life until you see a 4. And you just got your 4. And it says you use logic and structure to increase your success. Get organized. A firm but compassionate leader. So you can follow a firm and compassionate leader or be a firm and compassionate leader, but you need to get organized and keep moving and get going because you are starting to move now and you are getting laser focused and a force just come into your life. Nothing but success for you. Now that you're focused on what you really want to do and where you really want to be. So congratulations, Debbie. This is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm loving these readings. They're so great. Okay, so Cheryl's next, if I'm not mistaken.
She is.
Cheryl is next. Now, I know Cheryl for sure said she couldn't make it. She's doing a calligraphy class tonight.
Ooh, fun.
I know. That's what I said. I was like, oh, that's cool. So she's going to watch it on the replay, but she did want the reading. So that was awesome. So thank you so much, Cheryl, for letting me do this reading for you. Now, this one was jumping, so I'm going to take this one out and see what these cards have to say for you. Now I'm going to shuffle up the crystals and see what crystal is most beneficial for you this week. Let me see. Okay, this is the one. Okay, so Cheryl, your crystal is iolite. Iolite. Looks like a cracked beetle.
It's cool looking.
It is cool looking. It's like a scarab.
It's really interesting, actually.
And it says shift your money mindset. So interesting because I know we've had some talks about the mindset in particular with money and other things in our lives and that sort of thing. So you've got the card release. Interesting. So it says let go of the past, an ending that makes way for new opportunities, time to move on. So what are you repeatedly doing or thinking about or talking about or rehashing from your past that perhaps you need to truly move on from? What are you hanging on to? What beliefs? What prejudgments? What truths? Because we can challenge our own truths as well. Our truths aren't always truths. Our truths are something we take in and we believe, and then we cement them in as we reinforce them as truths. It's not always the case. And as we evolve and as we grow in our wisdom and expand in our connections to the universe, a lot of our truths start to fall by the wayside and start to change, and we have to re-examine those. And that can be very, very scary. And that can also stunt a lot of us when we realize some of my truths are starting to change. And then we stop because I don't want to go there. So this is something I have a feeling you're going to need to go very deep, Cheryl, and kind of look at what is it I'm rehashing? What is it I'm hanging on to? What am I telling myself over and over again that maybe I need to evolve it, change it, let go of it? Because you don't always have to let go of everything. Sometimes you just have to change the way you're using the tool, right? So the hammer is a good example. So the hammer has that hook where you take nails out. It's very good at that. And maybe you've been taking lots of nails out, and that's great. But now it's time to pound some nails in, but you're still trying to use the hook to do it. You got to turn your hammer around and use that part. Obviously, we all know that, right? But sometimes some of us are still using the hook of our hammer when we should be using the hammer part of our hammer. So the truths change. Our truths and beliefs do change, but we don't have to let go of them necessarily. We just have to change the way we're using them. Okay, and then your second card, that was just your first card. So your second card is the Princess of Summer. Sounds so much nicer and easier somehow. But what it does by releasing and changing some of these things, you move into that energy, the Princess of Summer. And it says a new emotional experience, invitations to social events. Well, that's a given now that we're opening up. A compassionate friend you can share your concerns with. You know I love you. And we share a lot together, Cheryl and I. But it's interesting that it says a new emotional experience, because for you, I think in your business, you're going to go deeper and you're going to touch people in a much more profound, deeper way when you go through this part. That's what brings you into the Princess of Summer, because Summer in the tarot, in this particular tarot deck, talks about emotions and relationships. And I know you have to deal with a lot of that in what your profession is. And I think that you are going to be very powerful in what you do, but you just have to do that releasing part. You just have to change your hammer around a little. Okay, so I hope that helped. Yay! Now, who do we have? Oh, Lynn Gobbo. Yes, yes. Okay, Lynn, thank you so much. I saw your donation come in right before dinner. All right, let's see what Lynn's got. Okay, there's her crystal. And now I'm going to get your 2 tarot cards. So if you didn't have time, we are only taking donations previous to the show, like before the show. So if you didn't have time for this week, you can always donate starting this minute if you want to for next week. We do start the list right away for next week. I know a few of you were, donating last week, Monday at 9 p.m. so that you could be on the list this week. So yeah, it's never too late. You'll just, if you get it beyond the time, like if you can't do it now during the show for today, but you will be on next Monday's list. So you'll get a reading next Monday then, if you like it. And maybe the universe is working that way. Maybe you don't need a big one this week. Maybe you need one next week. So do whatever you feel is right. And I appreciate all donations. It doesn't have to be a big, huge amount. Any amount helps. It helps to keep me and Sarah in takeout dinners before the show. And it helps to, keep this video going, this channel going. So Lynn, you got pyrite. Ooh, I like pyrite. I got some pyrite right there. It looks like crumpled up tinfoil here. That's pyrite. Sometimes also called fool's gold. And apparently, I just read an article. Apparently, some fool's gold actually has gold in it. So there's a lot of fool's gold out there that actually has gold in it. But it's pyrite. Looks like crumpled up golden tinfoil to me. I keep it here because it's supposed to draw in money, which it's been doing for me. So that's always good. And it says, and it actually says, let the money flow in. It is the money crystal. So if you want money in your life, bring in some pyrite. It's fairly heavy, so you don't want a big honking chunk of it because it will weigh your purse down. But yeah, bring pyrite in and money starts to flow into your world. And I have it not only here in the parlor, but I also have it in my studio where I do my junk journals. And yeah, I swear by pyrite. It's a very good, effective crystal in attracting money. This is one of the crystals I always kept on my table when I was doing the festival circuit when I was on the road with my daughter. I was the tarot reader. She was the henna artist. And we always had pyrite on the table. And it always helped to draw in money for us, which was great. Okay, so Lynn, your first card is Unity. You got 5. Unity. Okay, and it says, do the right thing for the right reason. So that might be something that you think will go against the flow or something that's right for you, but you feel it might upset other people or rock the boat in some way. If it feels right to you, if it is the thing that you need to do, then go ahead and do it. And don't be afraid of what is going to happen. Other people can deal with stuff in their own life. I suspect from this first card coming up that you're one of those people that a lot of people lean on, or that you're always the go-to rock, the one that's always helping out, that sort of thing. You need to take a breather. And it says, do the right thing for the right reason. Compare traditional versus new approaches to see which works for you. So perhaps you're thinking about a change. Embrace that change. A spiritually minded community. And that's something you should be looking for, is a spiritually minded community that helps to support you in those changes or in those new ways and new approaches that you're going to be doing. Because I suspect you will be doing those. And I suspect some people in your life will be upset because you won't necessarily be there every time they want you. Because sometimes people take advantage of that. And sometimes people get used to you always being available. And that is just grounds for people then to take advantage of that. And it wears you thin and you've spread yourself too thin. So now's the time to set those healthy boundaries and to self-care and to learn that no is a complete sentence. And then you go into the Prince of Winter. Didn't show that card very well. And it's a polar bear with a fairy on his back, skiing down a hill. And it says, seek out an intellectual solution to your problem. So perhaps whatever you're dealing with is you're dealing more from the head, whereas right now you're dealing from the heart. Now, I know a lot of people say, follow your heart, follow your intuition, blah, blah, blah. But it's really the balance of all three. But you are not in your head right now. You are very much in your heart, and you're almost too much in your heart. So it's a sign when it says seek out an intellectual solution. It means you need to detach a little bit and look at it from a different approach or a different perspective where you're not so emotionally invested. And, ask yourself, what would, a stranger do in this situation? What would a friend do in this situation? Lately I've been asking myself, because I'm trying to get over some of my avoiding that I do. And I say, what would an adult do to myself? And I go, yeah, an adult would deal with this right now. So then I go and deal with it. So it's been good for me to change that approach in my life. So that's, just an example of something you could do as well. Figure out what it is. Who are you trying to amplify? And I'm trying to be an adult. So, and it says the need to act quickly and decisively. So I take it this thing needs to be taken care of fairly soon. So you need to detach fairly soon. And detach doesn't mean you don't care. It just means that you're not putting all of your heart in there completely, because you don't need to do that in this situation. And it says sudden or unexpected changes. And it's good sudden or unexpected changes will happen. So take those things in mind. and hopefully they'll help with whatever it is you are up against. If you want to go deeper at any point, Lynn or anybody out here, please message me and we can set up a tarot reading anytime. We can do it online like this, or we can do it in person now that I'm allowed people in the parlor again. So let me know if you want a reading, because I'd love to do one for you. Okay, and who do we have after Lynn?
That was it for your donations, and then Kathy D.
Kathy D. Okay. Kathy. Excellent. Oh, we have 5 minutes left.
Good time.
Yeah. Okay, Kathy D, you got in. So you are getting a crystal card, and you got black tourmaline, and it says protect your energy. Tourmaline is a very, very strong crystal. I learned about it from a friend of mine. Krista is her name. Yes, there. I have black tourmaline right here. And I learned about this again on the festival circuit because I did some shows with her on the road. And she would set up little black tourmalines on the table in sort of like a fence way. And I asked her why she was doing this. And she said that it blocks negative energy. So no matter who comes up to your table, they can't put that toxic on you, that negative spin on you. She scattered my little reading table because I was doing tarot and she was selling jewelry with these black tourmalines. She had them all over the place. She had like buckets full of these things. And so I got a piece of tourmaline and I keep it in the parlor so that it just helps to keep the parlor balanced for everyone, and that whatever toxicity you might be walking in with, because sometimes we get toxicity and negativity attached to us, and that needs to be cleansed off. I've been doing a lot of sound baths now that we're open again, and that really helps to detach a lot of this negativity that can attach itself to you. So it doesn't mean you're always walking in being a toxic person. You might have toxic energy attached to you, and that needs to be wiped away from you. And Kathy, I know you've had some toxicity attached to you. So you need black tourmaline, like bucket loads of it. Go see my friend Krista. And yeah, that will help block any of that. It doesn't just block it, it also gets rid of it. So you can actually cleanse yourself with this crystal, like just run it down your arms, run it down your body, around your head, and through your aura and stuff like that. And it will help to dissipate any of that toxicity that's attached to it. If you're having a bad day, do the little cleanse with the tourmaline. It will help dissipate that sort of bad mood that you're in for no reason, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's your best friend when it comes to stuff like that. Black tourmaline, that's what you need to protect your energy. Okay, Kathy, I hope that helped. And who's next after Kathy?
That is it.
Okay, well, that's good because we are down to the last 3 minutes. So thank you everyone for being here. I hope you had a good time watching. This was our second YouTube broadcast for Mystic Mondays, and I'll always try and keep Mystic Mondays interesting. If there's anything that you want to see as a subject, please let me know, and I will talk about that in one of the following Mondays. So put them in the comments of what kind of topics you'd love to cover, and I'll talk about it. As if I know about it. If I'm not an expert in it, I won't talk about it. So but yeah, anything spiritual or mystical, I probably know at least a little bit about. So thank you so much for being here. Please invite your friends. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. And then ring the little fairy bell so it'll bring fairies into your life and into the channel. Fairies love the sound of bells, and it attracts good energy. So please ring that bell, and that way you'll know when the Mystical Monday videos come up, because you'll get notified when the second I go live. Okay, and I'd like to thank Sarah for being my lovely assistant tonight and keeping me straight on everybody and doing everybody's readings. I hope I see you again next week. And like I said, please invite your friends. Until then, take care and have a great week. Bye.